the king of pop.
For his entire life, Michael was manipulated by the people who want to see him fall.
The media has dissected and manipulated these allegations to reach their own conclusions.
Sometimes by media.
And he trusted Martin Bashir, and the way this thing was narrated, it was just not fair.
Sometimes by his own father.
You whipped them and punished them for something they did, and they will remember that.
It's not like that anymore. You know, many people say, well, you know, you can't hit a child.
Even today, in the new Netflix series Michael Jackson: The Verdict, Martin Bashir resurfaces, revisiting the documentary that started it all.
Calculated deceit used to land the interview.
The same man who once felt guilty of using Michael for attention.
But the truth is that he was never convicted of any crime. I never saw any wrongdoing myself.
Of course, those who tried to put him behind bars got tangled in their own web.
Tonight, the woman whose son accused Michael Jackson of molesting him has been charged with welfare fraud in Los Angeles.
But this video is not about the verdict anymore, because the world knew the truth from the very beginning.
Don't treat me like a criminal, because I am innocent.
It's about the fear that took his life.
Latoya, they're gonna kill me. I said, who, Michael?
The humiliation from allegations that forced him to leave his own country.
I don't know who to believe or who to trust right now.
We would do anything for him.
I think people are just jealous. You gotta look at the man's heart. He's the best. He's the greatest.
And how he handled extraordinary pressure to remain the king of pop.
And in my mind still is the king of pop.
When Michael released the images of the hyperbaric chamber, many were worried about the risks of this machine. A machine that would allow him to live 150 years, but required him to sleep in this oxygen chamber, take daily electric shocks, eat 50 vitamin pills a day, and even allow him to talk to animals. We're talking about a time when Michael released the best-selling album in the US and the world. He was 23 years old, and the Thriller album sold 70 million copies worldwide. Yet at the same time, he wanted to risk his life by sleeping in this chamber because he had fear of mortality. Like something was waiting to take his life and he must do anything to stay alive. His personal manager, Frank DeLeo, warned about the risks of this machine. He said, "I told Michael that machine is too dangerous. What happens if something goes wrong?" But Michael won't listen. He really believes this chamber purifies his body.
There were several controversies and conflicts that arose throughout his life, including his decision to fire Frank DeLeo, his former manager. The reasons for Jackson's decision to part ways with DeLeo were multifaceted and complex, and can be attributed to issues related to finances, creative control, and personal differences.
Something that reminds us of what American entrepreneur Brian Johnson is trying to do today, to which no one has a clear answer.
Do I do more? Now, I've spoken to several experts, and the truest answer is nobody really knows.
As a matter of fact, even Michael Jackson did not know what was waiting to suck the oxygen from his life. After gaining recognition in the global pop culture, Michael was filming for a Pepsi commercial at Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles. It was a simulated concert in front of hundreds of people, and Pepsi's worldwide creative director was also present at the show. But then something happened that broke Michael for the rest of his life. The moment he was about to enter the stage, the flames from the firecrackers struck directly on Michael's head, resulting in second-degree burns to his scalp. Now, if you look at this performance from the beginning, Michael was completely safe in the first cut. He walked on the stage unharmed, doing everything he did best. However, it was in the second cut when the flames captured Michael's hairs. He was so focused on his work that he did not realize when the accident actually happened. Although Pepsi compensated Michael $1.5 million for this incident, which is $4.6 million as of 2025, but the superstar was so traumatized by the incident that his fears about mortality ignited to an all-new level. To cover the injury, Michael underwent a treatment, and even had third rhinoplasty after. At the same time, he also donated the entire $1.5 million to Brotman Medical Center, California, a Michael Jackson burn center to help those who suffer similar incidents. Yet inside his mind, something fearful was going on.
First told me, Latoya, they're gonna kill me. I said, who, Michael?
The images you're looking at may look hard to interpret, but if you look closer, they're snapshots from Michael Jackson's personal diary. And they reveal not just about his goals, but also the fear of being killed by someone unknown. Because Michael believed that evil people from the music industry were planning to destroy him and take control of his entire music catalog.
it's bigger than what you think. I said, well, Michael, what is it? He said, it's my publishing. They're after my publishing. They want to take it.
He said, evil people everywhere. They want to destroy me and take my publishing company. The system wants to kill me for my catalog. I am not selling it. Michael also wanted to become the first multi-billionaire entertainer and pinned down a goal to make $20 million per week. In fact, he was very close to achieving this goal, as he listed down a deal with Nike to perform at Cirque du Soleil concerts. But at the same time, some of his close ones, the one he trusted the most, were always on the lookout to steal his money. Specifically Tommy Artomi, the manager of Michael, about whom he became highly suspicious. The star became so doubtful of his manager's behavior that he was not even ready to allow himself to either enter his house or board a plane with him. Interestingly, there was one thing in his diary that stood away from everything that you just saw, and it was his goal towards becoming immortal by remaking movie classics, like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea or The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. He wrote, "If I don't concentrate on film, no immortalization." This means despite betting big on Hyperbaric Chamber, Michael wanted to use his face value in the movies, so that people could watch him and get inspired by him for centuries. And if you look at the plot of The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad movie, it does fit perfectly with Michael's objective. In this movie, the sailor had to journey through a dangerous island so that he could save the life of his princess, who was cursed by an evil wizard. As the hero had to fight through giant monsters, a remake of this with Michael would have increased his value more than ever before. However, he did not realize that the film industry is so unpredictable that one moment it can turn you into a superstar, and the very next day it can burn everything that you earned. Something that also happened with Michael when he made one of the biggest mistakes of allowing British journalists to document his daily life. And what happened after that was something that Michael regretted for the rest of his life. In May 2002, around 6 months after performing at this event, Michael began one of the most controversial documentaries of his life. The documentary was called Living with Michael Jackson, where British journalist Martin Bashir will share with the world what it's like to live with the biggest music star. Now, Bashir was well known for securing interviews with one of the biggest personalities of the world. He interviewed Diana, Princess of Wales, one of the rarest interviews ever witnessed. But at the same time, this man was also known for using forgery and deception to sit face-to-face with big personalities. Specifically speaking, Bashir used fake documents to gain trust of the younger brother of Diana, who later helped in arranging the interview with her. And his objective of this meeting was focused on asking Diana about her failed marriage with King Charles III. Similar to what's called yellow journalism, where a journalist takes advantage of eye-catching headlines, scandal, and violence to grab viewers' attention.
But now it is back in the news, with the BBC confirming suspicions of false pretenses and, quote, calculated deceit used to land the interview.
Unfortunately, his next target was Michael Jackson, with whom he followed a similar strategy to secure the interview. Bashir promised Michael that in return of the meeting they would plan a trip for him to Africa so that he could help the children with AIDS. Kofi Annan, then UN Secretary General, was also supposed to accompany Michael in the trip. Now, securing an interview with deception, if it's for the good of the society, could at some point become acceptable. But what worsened the entire situation when the documentary was published?
He trusted Martin Bashir. They took this thing back to the studio and they took a lot of things out, and the way this thing was narrated, it was just not fair.
The documentary went so viral that 14 million people watched in the UK and 38 million people in the US. However, what was shown to the people was a manipulated version to attract more views. The controversy began with Bashir's camera crew, who kept filming his children despite his warning. Now, Michael wanted to give his children a normal life, so that they don't fall down in any unexpected controversy. This is why he made his children wear masks in public. Not to mention the main reason Michael allowed Bashir in the house is that he once interviewed Princess Diana. As Michael met Diana, this interview meant a lot to him. So in response, Bashir promised to Michael that they would cut this part to ensure Michael's privacy. Yet the promise was openly broken. You can see how Michael in this video is trying his best to hide the face of his infant son. But Bashir was trying his best to remove the fabric from the child's face.
Are you all set? That's a really great mask. It's a butterfly. Let me see. Come here. What's it made of?
I don't know. The inside is hot.
He went a step further, deliberately editing the footage to imply something predatory about Michael's closeness with children.
And they say, is that really appropriate for a man, a grown man, to be doing that? How do you respond to that?
I feel sorry for them because that's judging someone who wants to really help people. Why can't you share your bed? The most loving thing to do is to share your bed with someone. God knows in my heart how much I adore children.
But isn't that precisely the problem? That when you actually invite children into your bed, you never know what's going to happen.
But when you say bed, you're thinking sexual. They make that sexual. It's not sexual.
Michael said, "I trusted Martin Bashir to come into my life and that of my family because I wanted the truth to be told. I'm surprised a professional journalist would compromise his integrity by deceiving me in this way. However, this was just the beginning of the most traumatic time in his life."
Michael Jackson case today is almost unbelievable, like Peter Pan, who Jackson says he emulates.
In November 2003, months after the documentary aired, Michael was arrested by the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Department and formally indicted in 2004. And the reason why he was humiliated in handcuffs was this. The boy you're looking at is a cancer patient, Gavin Arvizo. He first came in contact with Michael when his father asked celebrities to support his treatments. When Michael realized about his condition, he sent Gavin a basket full of toys and invited him and his entire family to his Neverland Ranch. Soon the boy wanted to stay with Michael, and he had no issues supporting the same.
We are guest units, but whenever kids come here, they always want to stay with me. They never want to stay in the guest. And I have never invited them in my room. They always just want to stay. They say, "Can I stay with you tonight?" I go, "If it's okay with your parents, yes you can."
But Bashir wanted to create something spicy out of their relationship. He wanted to use this rare meeting as a perfect opportunity to play with viewers' minds. So he focused the camera towards Michael, holding the hand with the boy. This is to ignite anger in the mind of people, the local authorities, that something very wrong is going on here.
People hear that children from other families have come and they've stayed in your house. They've stayed in your bedroom.
Well, very few.
But, some have. And they say, is that really appropriate for a man, a grown man, to be doing that?
Unfortunately, that is what happened. 2 years after this holding hands footage, Michael was at the center of a criminal trial, the people of the state of California versus Michael Joseph. And it was initiated after Gavin's mother called Michael as evil and claimed that he's holding Gavin and his family against their will. Now keep in mind that Gavin's mother is the same woman who expressed strong disappointment to Bashir's documentary on Michael. She defended him by stating, "At no time has Gavin ever been treated with anything other than love, respect, and the deepest kindness by Michael. Michael has been so important in Gavin being able to recover from cancer. His constant support, both practical and emotional, helped give my beautiful little boy the strength to fight his cancer. I would never have given consent for Gavin to appear in Bashir's film, which in my opinion is a complete distortion of the truth about Michael Jackson, as I know and admire him." So if Gavin's mother was so clear about Michael's behavior, if she trusted Michael so much, why did she suddenly turn against him? Well, it turns out Janet is a greedy fraudster who wanted to use Michael's situation to extract more money. Because 2 months after this trial began, she was charged to Los Angeles County for fraudulently receiving $18,000 in government aid.
After follow-up segment tonight, the woman whose son accused Michael Jackson of molesting him has been charged with welfare fraud in Los Angeles. Authorities say Janet Arvizo stole about $19,000 from California. You may remember Miss Arvizo was one of the reasons some of the jurors said they acquitted Jackson. They did not trust the woman or her son.
Nonetheless, she trained Gavin so well for court that he forgot what Michael did for him. Gavin claimed Michael had given him wine hidden in soda cans, shown him adult material, and made inappropriate advances toward him. Surprisingly, at the same time, Gavin had told his own school administrator the exact opposite, that Michael had never done anything inappropriate to him. You can also notice in this clip where Gavin confirmed that his parents had no problem with him staying at Michael's house. Does this in any way look like that Michael is holding Gavin and his family against their will?
Were your parents happy that you were here with Michael?
Yeah, my mom was all very, very, very happy.
But they were happy that you were here?
Yeah.
And a stunning verdict. A Santa Maria jury finds Michael Jackson not guilty on each and every charge he faced. No compromises, no hung jury. It seems no second thoughts.
Of course, the final verdict of the trial found Michael not guilty. But imagine the pain, the humiliation, and the circus media created to destroy Michael's reputation. The trial was called one of the most shameful episodes in journalistic history, because media was focused on covering not the Michael side of the story, his defense, but what the allegations were about. For example, ordinary adult magazines found in his home were branded by some outlets as something far more sinister, even falsely tied to children. And the more they covered the accusations, the more biased viewers became. The whole world was watching the trial, and CBS, NBC, ABC, and VH1 were playing the news for 24 hours. As more than 30 million people watched it live in the United States, it reminded people of the 1995 murder trial of O.J. Simpson. However, while the world was eating popcorn and enjoying the media drama around Michael Jackson, no one cared how deeply this trial was damaging his mental health. Michael's former manager revealed that the entire drama convinced Michael to consume drugs like never before.
These events have caused a nightmare for my family, my children, and me.
He also remembered a point when Michael walked into the kitchen to eat, but he was so consumed with drugs that he could not lift up the fork to his mouth. Most astonishing statement his manager said was, "It broke him. It killed him. He took a long time to die, but it started that night." Previously, the drugs were a crutch, but after that, they became a necessity. It was at that moment Michael began to remember the haunting memories of his childhood. It was all coming back, replaying like a movie in his mind. Despite being the lead singer of the Jackson 5 band, Michael's youth was nothing more than a lonely world. His father never allowed him to play with children on the street and forced him to rehearse for 5 hours a day after school. And whenever Michael committed a single mistake or made a dance step wrong, his father will beat him with a belt buckle. The abuse followed every single day. In some moments, his father also used a tree branch from their garden to beat Michael. Sure, this behavior helped Michael to stay disciplined, but at the same time he craved his father's love, who never hugged him, held his hand, or said that he loved him.
Let's get into this beating thing. There's no such thing as beating a kid. You whip them and punish them for something they did, and they will remember that. So they remember it in such a way they wouldn't do it again. That's the way I was.
It's not like that anymore.
This is why Michael did everything to distance himself from his father, but he could never afford to see the same from his own children or any other kid he adored in his lifetime.
An important chemistry and writing song is inspiration, and I'm holding one of my inspirations is Emmanuel Lewis.
When Michael met television star Emmanuel Lewis, he witnessed everything that he missed in his childhood. He wanted to give Emmanuel the things Michael never had: the friendship, the chance to achieve global attention, no beating or bullying. Spending time with Emmanuel was like Michael curing the days of his haunting childhood.
It is of enjoying through them the childhood that I missed myself.
The same was with Home Alone actor Macaulay Culkin. And the same was with 13-year-old Jordan Chandler, whose father, Evan Chandler, accused Michael in 1993 of abusing his son. Surprisingly, Evan was the one who encouraged Jordan's friendship with Michael. But when Michael took Jordan and his family for a trip to Las Vegas and Florida, Evan became jealous of Michael getting too close with the kid. So instead of hitting back, Evan used this as an opportunity to threaten the star for money. Evan threatened Michael that he will go to court, file the allegations if he doesn't pay $20 million to stop him. When Michael's legal team refused, he brought down the offer to $15 million. Not to mention, Evan also demanded a $20 million film production deal with Michael if he wants to avoid getting humiliated in court.
The parties involved were still not satisfied and wanted to take even more pictures. It was a nightmare, a horrifying nightmare. But if this is what I have to endure to prove my innocence, my complete innocence, so be it.
Of course, no medical evidence was found against Michael, but to suffer with constant allegations since he became famous was something very few celebrities could handle.
I get tired of situations like this, where people completely lie on me, and I'm sick of it. People wonder why I always have children around, because I find the thing that I never had through them.
This was also around the time when Michael was on a world tour for his 8th studio album, Dangerous. Michael raised $100 million from 69 concerts for environment and charities to children. However, what the media was focused on was something that he never imagined.
I will say that I am particularly upset by the handling of this mass matter by the incredible, terrible mass media.
None of that, any of that, makes any of it the truth.
After years of baseless allegations and destroying his mental health in the process, in 2005, Michael left his dream house, Neverland. Around a year, he stayed as a guest for Sheikh Abdullah of Bahrain because he did not feel secure in his own country. Yet the trouble managed to follow him wherever he went. In 2006, Jackson was facing 47 ongoing lawsuits and was on the verge of bankruptcy. To save himself from this crisis, he was forced to put his Beatles catalog as collateral against $270 million he owed to Bank of America. Fortunately, the Beatles catalog was worth around $1 billion during that time, and Michael purchased it for just $47.5 million in 1985. It included 251 Lennon-McCartney songs, including Let It Be.
Speaking words of wisdom, let it be.
Even his Neverland Ranch was used as collateral against his loans. Nonetheless, despite having the Beatles card in his pocket, by 2006 Michael's reputation was destroyed, to such an extent that for the next 3 years he earned not a single penny from his image and likeness. But then,
This is it, and see you in July.
in March 2009, Michael announced his comeback in a concert series called This Is It. The plan included cities like London, Paris, New York City, and Mumbai. Fortunately, his fans were so excited that more than 1 million tickets were sold in less than 2 hours. As it was to be the first major concert since the History World Tour in 1997. Everything was going perfect. Michael was rehearsing in Los Angeles, and to get out of debt he was in the process of creating a new album, launch films, museums, and a casino. And then,
to hear that Michael Jackson, at least according to the Los Angeles Times and CBS News, has died is truly a shocking moment.
It's astonishing how after 17 years of Michael passing away from cardiac arrest, media still wants to destroy his image, just so Netflix could attract more attention towards it. Surprisingly, Bashir resurfaces once more, his old documentary placed right back at the center of the story. Turns out the backlash of fans toward the latest documentary speaks the ugly truth. Wow, this man is still being exploited by people 17 years after his death. The media is still trying to convict a man whose innocence has been proven an indescribable amount of times. You are so pathetic for endorsing this. A price he paid for giving more love to children than their own parents.
And Jesus said to love the children and be like children. Be youthful and be innocent and be pure and honorable.